The idea of the spiritual body at the end of verse 44 may be a little difficult for us to understand. That's probably because we immediately think of a spirit, which of course is not a body. So what is the difference between a natural body and a spiritual body? Well, we'll read what Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 45 to 49. And so it is written, the first man Adam was made a living soul, the last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual. The first man is of the earth, earthy, the second man is the Lord from heaven. As is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy, and as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. And as we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. The best way to deal with any subject is to go right back to the beginning. So Paul goes right back to the creation of the natural body as recorded in Genesis chapter 2, when he writes, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul in verse 45. Now, Adam became a living soul when God breathed into his natural body the breath of life. His body was energized by his soul. In the second part of verse 45, we're then told the last Adam was made a quickening spirit, or a life-giving spirit. So there's a contrast here between soul on the one hand and spirit on the other, and between receiving life and imparting life. Elsewhere we read about the Lord Jesus, in him was life, John chapter 1 verse 4, and that he has life in himself, John chapter 5 verse 26. So in these verses the Lord Jesus is called the last Adam rather than the second Adam. We might ask the question, why is that? Well, it reminds us that the first Adam was the head of a race who shared in the life that he had received, but who have all died. But in contrast, because the resurrected Christ is the guarantee of life for every believer, a life that cannot be extinguished, there will be no Adams after him. He is the last. In verse 26, Paul wrote, the last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. Death will have its final demise. And that is because of the resurrected Christ, who is the last Adam in verse 45. The last Adam will outlast the last enemy. He will have the final victory. So that natural body that Adam was given was made of earth, of soil, of dust. The first man is of the earth, earthy, verse 47. And that is the kind of body that we all have, because as we are born into this world, we are all in Adam, verse 22. Paul goes on to remind us that the second man is the Lord from heaven, verse 47 as well. The second man is a different kind of man and has a different origin. He is the Lord and he's from heaven. The first was out of the earth, but the second is out of heaven. It is a difference in order or character. And that is also true of the spiritual body as opposed to the natural body. So Paul concludes by pointing out that as is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy, verse 48. Similarly, as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly, in verse 48 as well. Those who are linked with the heavenly man will have the same kind of body as he had in resurrection. John tells us that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, 1 John chapter 3, verse 2. So in answer to the question, with what body do they come, verse 35, Paul assures us that all those who by faith are linked to the resurrected Christ will have a spiritual body. And that just as we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly, verse 49. Aren't you glad that when the Lord comes, we shall be changed, as Paul will write in verse 52? That's what we're going to focus on in the next video in the will of the Lord.